Welcome to Jason on English. Let's look at Proverbs. Proverb review number 2. What is the best proverb? We had 6 proverb lessons, totally practicing 30 different proverbs. There were also some proverb tests. If you miss any proverbs in this review, please go back and look at the proverb lessons on this channel. Look at the story and listen to the story and try to remember the best proverb for this story. Bob bought a large house with a large yard. At first he was happy. However, Bob hates cleaning and is not very handy. The house was expensive, so he couldn't hire cleaners or gardeners. Bob wished that his house and yard were maintenance-free. Of course, that was impossible. What do you think is a good proverb for this story? Here's a hint. Blah, 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 cake, and eat it too. Do you remember the proverb? Here's the answer. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Next, Jim decided to try gardening. He wanted to grow his own vegetables and herbs. He had to dig up his yard, remove the grass, and prepare the soil. After that, he had to plan the layout and choose which plants he wanted to grow. Jim also did a lot of research on gardening. He was a beginner. Of course, it took a long time, but Jim didn't mind. What's a good proverb for this story? Any ideas? Here's a hint. In a day. Do you know which proverb? Here's the answer. Rome wasn't built in a day. Next story. Anne reserved an aisle seat for her long flight. She liked to get up and stretch her legs. When she was checking in, the airline staff apologized and said there was a mistake. Anne would have a window seat instead of an aisle seat. Anne complained and asked to speak to the manager. She didn't want to change. Finally, the airline upgraded her to business class as an apology. What's a good proverb for this story? Any ideas? Here's a hint. Blah, blah, blah gets the grease. Do you know the beginning of this proverb? Here's the answer. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Next. When Bob broke his leg, he had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. He loved taking walks and exercising, so it was depressing to stay in bed. Bob watched a lot of funny videos online to change his mood. His friends often visited him and cheered him up too. Bob was allowed to go home early because he recovered more quickly. What's a good proverb for this story? Let me give you a hint. Blah, blah, blah is the best medicine. Do you know this one? The answer? Laughter is the best medicine. Next. Jim was very lazy. He never cooked, cleaned, or did his own laundry. Jim's mother didn't mind helping him, though. She was very kind. One day, Jim couldn't find his comic book. His mother had moved it while cleaning. Jim got very angry and told her not to move his things. This was Jim's big mistake. Jim's mother stopped cooking and cleaning for him. What do you think? What proverb can you think of for this story? Here's your hint. Blah, blah, blah that feeds you. And here's the answer. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Next. Anne's mother always included fresh fruit in Anne's school lunches. When Anne stayed with her grandmother, Anne always got fresh fruit too. Anne usually stayed healthy and didn't get sick very often. If she got sick, it was mild and she recovered soon. Anne learned that it was important to eat nutritious food, especially fruit and vegetables. Can you think of a good proverb for this story? Here's your hint. Blah, blah, blah keeps the doctor away. Do you know this one? Here's the answer. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Next. Bob had to go to the dry cleaners to drop off his suit. His wife asked him to pick up some fresh flowers if he had time. Bob said that it would be easy. The flower shop was on the same street. Bob could make one trip and take care of both errands. It would not take any extra time at all. Can you think of a proverb that matches this story? Your hint is blah, blah, blah with one stone. Do you know the beginning? Here's the answer. Bob killed 2 birds with one stone. Kill 2 birds with one stone. Next. Jim bought a painting at a flea market and put it up in the living room. He thought that the painting was very attractive. His wife thought that the image in the painting was boring. Jim's kids thought that the painting looked bad too. Jim didn't mind. Everyone has different tastes. What proverb matches this story? Here's a hint. Blah, blah, blah is in the eye of the beholder. Do you know this one? The answer is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Next. Anne agreed to help her friend organize a party. Anne said that she would design the invitations and print them out. Anne also said that she would get all of the decorations and put them up. When Anne offered to plan the menu and prepare the food, her friend stopped her. "You're doing too much," her friend said. "You can't finish everything." What's a proverb that matches this story? Here's a hint. Blah, 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 more than you can chew. Do you know the beginning of this proverb? Here's the answer. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Next. Bob promised his wife that he would keep the house clean while she was away. When she came home from her trip, the house was a mess. She was very disappointed. Bob knew he had failed to keep his promise. When his wife went shopping for groceries, Bob quickly cleaned everything. His wife was so happy and surprised when she came home. Can you think of a good proverb for this story? Here's a hint for one idea. Blah, 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 than words. Do you know this one? What's the beginning? Here's the answer. Actions speak louder than words. On this channel, there are 6 lessons covering 30 different proverbs. There are also 2 proverb tests, which cover 15 proverbs on each test. This is the second proverb review. Proverbs are set phrases, so it's important to remember them as a complete set. Remember the sentence. Remember all of the proverb as one piece. When native speakers are talking, they sometimes say only the beginning of the proverb. It's important to understand that hint and remember what the proverb means. If you like, please watch this video again. If you missed any proverbs, please review the other Proverbs lessons on this channel. And remember, try to say everything aloud. Let your mouth teach your ears. If you say things aloud, you can remember them easily later, and your mouth and your ears get comfortable with the natural sound of English. Thank you for watching.